就像你，西当这比美啊，萨姆与大卫，家庭空做教为我做的真相啊哈我做的真相。咋个，喇嘛，起刚的现状，起那边我怎么的，前面老早，人不起，起阳家我成功的，太弱。
大家好，欢迎回到这个断法的教授。Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back for the teaching of the Chod practice. Just a quick reminder, this channel is for English interpretation only. For the Chinese interpretation, you need to go to another channel. 各位再叮咛一次，这一次个法宝典藏的这个频道是做英文翻译的，如果要中文必须要到这个桑吉佛网的频道去。Again, apologize for this morning because of the time difference, time lag between the original sound in the Gongba and then the streaming sound through the Zoom and YouTube. There was a time lag, and so it caused some confusion. So this afternoon we move outdoors in the great nature. It's raining outside. Birds, mosquitoes, all surrounding. Let's enjoy the teaching by Khenpo Tsulnam Rinpoche, giving us a teaching on Chod. Not on Chod, on Chod. 趁现在还没开始，再提醒各位一下，这个法宝典藏这个周末担任是英文口译的工作，中文的口译翻译要到 YouTube 的桑吉佛网去。那如果你们是要听中文的，请记得到 YouTube 的桑吉佛网。Again, this is English interpretation channel. If you going to needing Chinese interpretation, please go to YouTube at Samji Fowang. Thank you.
当个都今日中呢，到我当地帮是都你就是现在，我当地了三十了，马上就没些本身马就门个能个我，所说让一些节了对上节为了三十了，其实不然前来见个见，这个我当不是冷了不。Jarvate Mokanda Sanjeva Kajula Manala Kusan Sar Yanti Sanjay Kanda Nyana Yang Kodin Sanjay Kanda Kapa Savalama Nana Soranda Dawsondo Valona Jula Jortu Tatara So Saruk Chute 고주야리 된두 따따나 슈바나지 아주 지추 친이 그만나 네 꾸용다 꾸주가 맞춰서 네 추단 tumba 그거네 네 사답대 네 서로 그 주된달라 셈버쇼
We are going to start our teaching this afternoon. It is very important to have the right motivation to listen to the Dharma teaching. Before we start, please adjust your motivation. Check your motivation to make sure you have the right motivation listening to the Dharma teaching.
Ta chu saya te ta na kong de shi ban na yin ki ne dan kang ju he yo de sin na ne ma de ba ta dan je ju he yo de kang ki ju he yo de sin na ta te ta ne ji chu ke nyang ni ne shi ra ju par sa ma sa mo tum ban ni ne ti ju he yo de so ru je dar ju he yo de sin na 근데 나는 근데 주기 주대다 탐제라 주상 dom섬세네 근데 주해요데스 다제나 아네 주탐나 당하랑서도 준제 가레터베요리스나 근데 단제다 뇽모발레 조르네 근데 탑바다 산지적 공파 아니 터베요리스 근데 강주사 강기 쥐바 서로 쥐다를 쥐바 쥐바 근데는 나와 이거 거네 근데 쭉 고동대 되는 거서 loklang ego
In this afternoon, we are going to talk about introduce the content of Chod practice. What is Chod? This morning, we have briefly mentioned the content of practice of Chod. There are a few points that we should understand, mainly from 4 different perspectives. What is Chod? What are we trying to cut through? How do we do that, etc. What we need to cut through is that the afflicted emotion and self-attachment. And then how do we do it is listening, pondering, and practicing emptiness, and use emptiness to cut through this attachment, afflicted emotion.
可能现在就跟娘那些呢，那蛮多的，这些。
So again, the subject for this chut is that to remove or dissolve self-attachment, afflicted emotion using our wisdom as a tool to do so. If we practice chut, is it possible that we could really cut through our attachment and afflicted emotion?
什么能落的吧？是呢，那就是什么我个送有的，但对当真吧，当马人吧对他他们这落的来送啊，给出发跟那么多的是，但对那当真当马人吧对个人不。다음에 봐 다음 안에 만서 쭉 양년째 세바 임바에나 대 난제다 말을 받대서 안에 그 담보 이제는 해봐 론 출발 임바 정말 시는 하여 봐 출발 그 남도 임바 진짜 근점 진짜 때는 되는 거죠 안에 방토래
The answer, the response to your question is, it is possible to cut through. And the reason being, it's like what Jason Venerable it's like that the master in the past mentioned. We know that afflictive emotion is impermanent, we could cut through. So when we mention that it's impermanent, it's not there forever, it is just being there at this point. It is possible to cut through. How do we do that? Through selfless wisdom. Arise the wisdom, with the emptiness of wisdom. The reason how we do that, we know that ignorance and self-attachment is impermanent, is temporary. It's all coming from our afflicted emotion, and with our wisdom, we could cut through this afflicted emotion and self-attachment.
另外一个原因是
And another reason for that being self-attachment as well as ignorance, a state of confusion. It's like illusion. It's like a dream state. Therefore, it is possible to be cut through. And then second question, if we want to really cut through afflict emotion and selfless, it is possible to gain liberation. And then the response is yes, it is possible. Why? As long as you really get rid of all the ignorance, then that is a Buddha state. The reason being that your own nature is ultimately innately clean and clear, pristine. Therefore, it is possible. All the sentient being has the Buddha nature. So once we remove the ignorance, it is possible we gain the liberation.
깡까나나 데니송여레 선진남나 산지니 온절로를 점에르세 제송의 선지 단지 예 너만에 라진가 산지 차도여레세 다 얘는 다다 안에 그 산지 임바라 임바 마시네 그 말을 받는 코로나 참송레세 다티 말을 받아 파빵아 예바 예나 근데 상거라지 춘이 그 동도 또 온데 아니 다가랑 되네 rembe는 산지제 공방 어다 진리를 내비는 거요 고마 토요레스
In the past, Buddha has make the following two statements. The following statement that all sentient beings are initially Buddha, but they are obscured by the afflicted emotion. Or we should know that our original nature is pristine and pure. However, temporarily we were obscured by our afflicted emotion and ignorance. Therefore, we cannot attain Buddhahood.
다 공부 송주 조대 아니 다부 다지 세나 다 람런 그 되네 좀 람런 rembe 럽서 그거네 되네 다 람런 그 남바 송샤 봐 아니 다부 다지 세나다 공부 땡주 조 되네 저 요요래
In the past, Gampo have the jewel of liberation. It is a path. In the jewel ornament of liberation, the chapter 1, we talked about Tathagata treasure or Buddha nature. In many of the wrong run or path practice, we have from the lower, middle link, and upper link. The teaching is like that. However, in the jewel ornament of liberation, it doesn't necessarily follow such order of lower link, middle link, and upper link. It started with the all sentient being has the Buddha nature. Taka.
임바 나랑 저기 줄 대신님 뭐 산지기 대신님 뭐 여바다 하고송아 임바 얘나 다네 총바제라 총자야가 뽑아지야라 아니 총 맞아 보고 다가나 이제 나랑 저기 줄 대신님 뭐 여바다 하고와 임바 얘나 다 산지기 줄 대신님 뭐도 요 노스 다티 저텔라 아니 대초 문도 세야 그람 냠살라와 임바 얘나 다 나눠서 산재 공방 톱톱은 삼바기 아니지 이치다 무바제와 치다 담보 대신이 무슨 샤바데
Why you may think that Gampo start with Buddha nature, and the reason being that as long as we understand that we all possess Buddha nature, we all have the potential to attain Buddha for, then we have the hope. It is like the businessman. If he has some money, enough base fund, then he will be more confident in running his business. Likewise, if we all know that we have a Buddha nature, as long as we follow the path, we can attain Buddhahood. Therefore, it helps us gain confidence.
출발신 된들들이 어디 된데 고로와다 냥이는 데바테 라와가 또잡난지 라와가 뭔다 된난지
所以
And therefore, the difference between sentient beings and Buddha or reincarnation, and Nirvana, the difference is that just between changing our thoughts. Since we all have the Buddha nature, we have the potential of attain Buddhahood. It is like the two sides of a hand. Just as long as we turn our palm, we'll be able to reach the other side of the hand or the palm.
我们的念头如果随着外境
If our thoughts follow the external phenomena and then get distracted, that is samsara. And that is a confused state.
看难的时候呢，三个内陆对了，对吧？也没人呐，等你对了，那年龄人对吧？等你对年龄人对吧？当，你对了，多吧是三个内陆多吧是等你个些有的。
相反的，如果把我们
On the contrary, if we could collect our mind from the outside and return back to our inside, and we look inside, then we could reach the nature of the mind, and that is it's possible to attain emptiness.
基于这个考
Based upon this consideration, when Buddha attained Buddhahood, he had the 3 turns of Dharma wheel. The first turning of the wheel is 4 noble truths.
말을 받아. 아니 뒤집어게 레단 용문바. 레단 용문바. 뒤지 용바게 제버. 동안 덴바테라. 코르바게 준데니 테라. 아니 군중 덴바당. 아니 동안 덴바시 티디소마레.
In the first turning of the wheel, there's a focus on the human realm. And then it started with the suffering and also collection. What is the nature of suffer? It's a karma and then accumulation. Who started the samsara? It comes from the accumulation. Therefore, the suffering and accumulation has the causal relationship.
아니 람텔 때는 집밖에 아니 제가 고고 덴바스나 단 영인은 데바게 준데니 데니로 소문 요리 다데 덴바지에선 나랑소가 나주그 롬이잖아 다 마이잖아 어디 되는 거예요 요리
在四谛法轮之
Then the second part of that is the path and then cessation. The first 2 is the cause of samsara. The second part is the nirvana's cause or liberation, the cause for liberation. So the first 2 belong to the cause
因
of
此当我们修持
samsara.
断法的时候，我们要
Therefore, when we practice Chod, we should understand that there are different ways in practicing this. It's not other than 4 noble truths.
就是다른 시간 아닌데 그空的강의 때는 송화를 했으면 다 용진된듯이 근데 바로 싫어게 바로 생각은도 보다空되었도는 아니 주세요 되는 거 송화를
而这个断
And Chod, what is it based upon? What is Chod based upon? It is based upon the extensive, middling, and concise Prajaparamita collection, and then condensed into Chod practice.
실험적 바로서 만도가 동 아니 사모동반이 때 냠서 아니 맹나가 거네 냠서 렘바 menga gone nyamsa lembar seba ka thap ta ani chiti chuyur ki nyamsa lembar ka thap tela tene ta ye shiraju padu sema ndo ga nang tin shaba ki samotu mani teni tene saha ki menga ki jine titungi ka tong te da thamje dela ta nyamsa lembar seba ka thap o tindi chela tene tada chu tada chu ki khong ra de tindi be yum bare
Chod is a way for us to practice emptiness. It is actually a pith instruction or shortcut. It is a secret. And what are we trying to resolve is the emptiness through our practice of skillful mean practice of Chod. So we could swiftly or easily attain enlightenment. And this is what we call as Chod, cutting through.
ta bo ra che yimba yana ta tira chuni bana chukche ke juk chuni ba gangola tane bola ane chuk tenma da tarware
在
In the 11th century, toward the end of 11th century and the beginning of 12th century, Chod got into Tibet. Therefore, what it means is toward the end of 11th century, beginning of 12th century, the church teaching was carried into Tibet, and it was carried by Machilasan to bring the teaching into Tibet. And
chukche kan namne bu ki lono kan samna tene thongcha ba chik tende re ko so bu ki ta loha ke sanchari no lono tenre te ye yum ra re lap ki yor ra ta pa che lono ra re nan shibi ma
他是诞生于西藏大概3
she was born in the Sannan area of Tibet.
ane ngo ka wang de seba yimba yena tene nang tan sa tan na ta ma che lap je ma ra wa nang tan na tene je je phama drama tene sama tan na tene chu go yom chen ma ane ta sa tan na ta ma che lap je drama wa ta tendi se na ane pula
So earlier I used a wrong term wrong. I used a reincarnation. Actually, it should be samsara, not reincarnation. So apologize for the misusing the term. And Machilajan she is different from ordinary people. From the outside, she is the Machilajan deity, and then internally she is a wisdom Dakini. Then the secret aspect, she is the animation of Prajaparamita mother, great mother Prajaparamita.
据说
It was said that when she was born, she has 3 eyes.
ma ke nam do de chin ta me la me ni ma do ba yo ma ri ta me so ye ba yin ba yin na ta te ting ni de sin na te ni me che ke ma chi ta an te me ke ni che te ni che zu sa de ten de la go ne te ni me sum ba de me sum ma de se te ni she tu yo de
刚开始他的母亲
In the beginning, her mother was very concerned by thinking that it's a bad omen, because ordinary people only have 2 eyes, but she has 3 eyes. So her mom think that it was not a normal human being.
tene ta phong chung de ne phama de so she ne ta ko chung de ne pe ka le mang bo nyam do
那他从小的时候父母就往生了
Her parent passed away since she was a child. So she became an
lo
orphan.
ba pe ke ba de shin ndum man do yang ta lo lo ya ke pe ke ba de shin
但从小的时候，他
However, she was very good at reciting scriptures since she was a child.
动物的时候，等年到或者等你妈送有的，
所以呢，从小的时候，
Therefore, she likes to read Prajaparamita, collection of Prajaparamita.
有了哇，몸，样的몸的样忙不等你看，别몸那老呀了，高当，대파全部是那，大部分人몸的时候送的，
也喜欢阅
Not only she likes to read the 8,000 verses of Prajaparamita, she also liked to read 100,000 verses of Prajaparamita.
싫어지 버릇이 막 동반이가 따와도 줄이 제일
阅读般若
And when she read the 100,000 stanzas of Prajaparamita, she quickly attained the wisdom of emptiness.
아니 나눈 거 왕도 세나야 아니 영 젠된 주성기 동의바 근데 양 콩라고 제 임바이나야 담보 아니 제때 몸다 제동바 근데 노드바 노제제바 뭐다 딘딜 콩토기바 딘딜에
所以这个因缘是
Therefore, it is very auspicious condition that what she brought with her. As we know that when we talked about Chod, it doesn't. It is a condensed collection of the extensive, middling, and concise Prajaparamita collective work. And when she was a child, she liked to read this collective work, and then it's therefore it would say that once we read this collection of Prajaparamita stanzas, it's easy to attain wisdom. In the Tibetan Buddhism, the origin of Tibetan Buddhism is coming from India. The same, likewise, Chod, it was carried into Tibet through India.
다들 공부를 해 근데 보라 근데 십지 그 주바 주요 그 주바 때 추的송 근데 제 추的송呢 근데 마치 랍저 드마케티 십지 주요 그 때마다 변네 근데 다 아니 무슨 디비션다 체제 세야 약간 나네 오다 말에 다때 자체 때 파지 담아산제 보라 해 근데 then ma mache la drama la ju ne then choyor ke temba te bol ha jang ke chapchen bota le
有印度的一位成就者
He was carried, so that is Padamba Sangye, and some people translate as Buddha Dharma, the first Zen master in China. Then Padamba Sangye transmitted Chod into the disciple Lamchen, and the Chod that got very popular in India.
보는 자가라야 아니 발송만야 요리스 바이어다 자가다 소라 펜다다 소라 펜네 야 자가라 파다 소마데스
曾经有一段时间
For quite some time, the transmission of the Chod got transmitted back to India from Tibet, and it has something to do with Lamchen, to bring the teaching back from Tibet back to India and Nepal. It is like Lamchen have collected all different traditions of the Chod, and then transfer it back to India and Nepal.
요리스 자가가 추데 보도 빼면 뭐 다르거든 보고 추데 자가라 파 달송마데 다 마제 랍저 드마게 쪼요 그 추 코나다 다리스 데니시서 소마데
西藏民间有一个说
And there was a folklore in Tibet. All the teaching coming from India to Tibet, there's the volume of these teaching a lot. However, there's only one teaching that started from India and send it back, transfer back to India, and the only one was Chod by Lamchen. Therefore, we could see the uniqueness of this practice and this teaching. What that means is that it's very significant that Chod is very deep and very auspicious, and also what was developed by Lamchen is very complete. Therefore, it attracts a lot of the attention of the great scholars in India. In the life of the Padamba Sangye, he had been to Tibet 7 times, even going to China from Tibet. And And the Padamba Sangye has the same name as the Dharma, the first Zen master in China. Their name is the Buddha Dharma Buddhi. And their activity and what they break through are exactly the same. And even the way they dress are the same. They have the same birthplace, the southern India. The two of the teaching coming from these two are the same. Buddha Dharma, the Dharma, the first Zen, bring a Zen tradition to China. So therefore, he's the first master in Zen school in China. Zen Buddhism, the origin of Zen Buddhism comes from the 8,000 sense of Prajaparamita and other scriptures. In the Zen Buddhism, the focus on one mind and focus on emptiness, the emptiness meditation. That's how the Zen Buddhism practice.
那样就给个呢，上下给他跟人家的店呢，那样推动的时候，不了，等于本来上下给他，同意的上下给没那个呢，娘子人他的就跟娘子人他的店呢，那就是呢，那不了本来。
And when we mention Chod, the practice of Chod is somewhere using the skillful means of the Tibetan Buddhism as a pit instruction and combine that with the Diamond Sutra, trying to illustrate, and that is the emptiness. So it integrates the skillful means, pit instruction, and then for us to actualize emptiness. That's the spirit and core of the Chod practice. Padamba Sangye then carry these teaching, core teaching to Tibet from India. Therefore, we could say that these may be two different approach. However, then the purpose, the goal is the same. It's instantly realize the nature of the mind. Therefore, many scholars use different source of writing and collection. They conclude that Padamba Sangye and the Dhammo, the two are actually the same person. However, their birth year were quite different. And then Dhammo, when he traveled to China, it's a second to third century. However, Padamba Sangye, when the Padamba Sangye bring Chod to Tibet, it was 12th or 13th century. In some of the related historical collection, it say that the Padamba Sangye's lifespan was 600 years. However, the scholar nowadays cannot confirm or about this, his lifespan. It is perhaps his lifespan was so long because he's a Zen practitioner. When Padamba Sangye went to Tibet and then brought Chod practice to Tibet, then when he started in Tibet, it is only one shoes, and this is almost the same as Dhammo, the Zen master in China.
的颂呢，等于补了观音的代表的，
天日假了，
等日假子，
他的你好吗？行，我是。
等日白话颂。
啊？定日白法颂。
对，怕他们他们的，等于空气，过去这个年龄些代表的，等于是修罗个假了。颂，等日假子是呢，等于补了过些颂的。
OK， 你们比我厉害。
It was said that he wrote a collective work and then it started from in Tibet.
如今这个
Nowadays, the teaching of Chod it got widespread into different parts of the world.
这是断法。
This is some of the related historical background about Chod practice.
Menga kandesen menga gone tungni nyam sele tabe sin ta danzen teso zen thap gone lam chikcher gone tene danzen te ma power se ba thap te la yang ani chu chu sin tene cha ga yo.
那另外断法，我们说它是
In addition, the practice of Chod is based upon Pitt's instruction in order to realize emptiness. It is instantly attain emptiness or forcefully cut through self-attachment.
danzen se ate tene naron so ko phumbo nga so so ko ta zupo te la men te la da sina da ki shyam ra te se na te la nar tam je na tene danzen te tili se na ta danzen se te tene bi mu yo wa tene da me ba la da tam je dem phumbo te da tam je dembar ma do ba da dembar je tindi la ti na tene na me ba la na tam je ba ki tene danzen dan denje te so tene na so ki mu yo ne ti so so ki phumbo te da ti na
Next, we should learn briefly what is self-attachment. It comes from 5 aggregates. And then we grasp and attach to these projection and then feel like it is real. It is coming from me. And this is what we call a self-attachment and or real attachment.
而这个我执
And
是一个
what we
大
so
障碍
call self-attachment is a huge obstacle for us to attain liberation. If we cannot resolve self-attachment, we could not get out of samsara.
这就是
And this is why in the statement, this statement got repeated a lot in the sutra that self-attachment is the root, is the foundation of samsara.
Sanjo sambat thwa ina yanda ane saha dorje thwa ki thwa ina ta chama ki ta danzen pomgo le cheba ina des.
在佛教的
In the Buddhism, there are different vehicles, Praktimoksha path, Bodhisattva path, or Vajrayana. And what is common to all these 3 vehicles are the removing self-attachment or cutting through self-attachment.
在灭除我执的过程，
When we try to eliminate self-attachment, the first step is to use our wisdom to inspect self-attachment. objectively, when we ask what is so-called I or me, most people would point at their body and say, this is me. So therefore, we know that most people rely on this physical body and think that's I, that's me.
홍보돼서 내밀다 안에 땡이 하고 이래.
所以为了能够
Henceforth, if we want to achieve complete attain complete wisdom, we need to resolve the so-called I based upon this physical body is unreal. In the Pratimosha teaching, it also covers emptiness. But however, they base upon aggregates, and this is a shorter term of realization.
다 된대세나 소수지오기 공부되라 다 짠데 다다 신jel로 과시여요라고 소수지오라 공부돼서 짠와 따과 된덕 짠데 다다 신jel로 로지여요래 되게 님보라 니랑 같은 것 같아서네 근데 맞다 동안 동담이 있으면요.
圣文圣抉择运体非
In
真
the
实所成的时候，他们的理由是什么呢？因为我们
how do they resolve this emptiness? Because our body is the source of suffering. It is impure. And therefore, in the Four Noble Truths, in the dukkha or the suffering, it has four different aspects. Because our body, it creates four different and there because there are four confused states of purity, joy or happiness, permanence, or I. But these are untrue. So therefore, we have the opposite side of suffering, impurity, impermanent, and selfless.
나는 속에 홍보돼서 안에 된데 짠데 따다가 간신지 많이 받아 나서 참 용해 줘 봐라.
因此这四种的执着被称为四种。
So therefore, these four attachment, it is what we call a four confused state, because their attachment is different from our human attachment. We know that when we look at our body, it's not pure, it's not permanent, it's not source of happiness, because we know that our physical body causes illness and then these different types of suffering. Therefore, we understand, we know that our body has four sources of suffering: birth, old age, illness, and death.
다음에 봐 동나라 간신 된지는 고마 요래.
在声闻上
In the Pratimosha practice, there was one particular practice. Then we use different way as an antidote. We know that our body is the source of suffering, impermanence, impurity, etc. However, if we follow this way, this approach to practice, It may take a long time for us to realize that the body, physical body itself is impermanent, it's impure, etc. It will take too much time
풍부되다
for
단지
us to realize these states.
생용근 하와 자마도 바기 동나 덴바트가 여마레 뚱이디 한 자마도 바기 나와다 덴바트 여마레 스는데 오마바게마 뚱이라 띵나 파네 더바처럼 노글로다 틴리가 냠슬 해요.
在大乘教法
In the Mahayana teaching, we have talked about the aggregate is not the real attachment, or in the Sita Mantra, it stands that this body comes from the projection of our mind. And then, some people feel like our mind is the true origin of everything.
데 뚱이 또발라베 주수 연정보 당 아니 나는 저 존중 망보지 거야 되리지.
但如果照这
However, if we use this path to practice, it may also take a long time to attain emptiness. And then we need to practice diligently for a long period of time in order for us to attain enlightenment.
야와라만도보다 곰 근데 사그라진 띵 곰네 근데 텔모바가 단자이다마 아 봉월세바 제량 걸람데
好，再来我们就密法的角度来去
Then
了解这件事情。
we
密法里
get
面有
to
包
the
括了
third
一体之力
level, which is Vajrayana. We have the generation stage and then a completion stage. In the generation stage, we talked about our body. Our 5 aggregates are the 5 Dhyani Buddhas. And then what we could visualize our body as deity to practice.
룰라 곰네 텔모바가 단자 봉말라야마니 주수 연정보 고그레.
And in addition to this, what we could do is to visualize pure deity from our impure body in order to counteract self-attachment.
다다 마다 얼리데다 탐제 빵네 니 선전내로 뚱이 똑버세바 데 조란리 대라양 아니 때 존주 잡보된 거 같다 때네 양 두소양 간참 여는 못 되는 거 그래.
In other texts from the completion stage, what we could do is that channel wind and drops practice this in order to counteract to antidote toward self-attachment. However, it also takes quite a lot of effort for us to be very diligent and would practice for quite a long time in order for us to attain emptiness.
而跟这
However, the practice of Chod is quite different from all these different ways of practice. And that one practice is Chod practice.
주수 연정보라 마다봉 고마다오 주수 연정보라 뚱이 파로 장는 검대바다오 주수 연정보라 풍모대다 던데 따라 검대바다오 다 된지 많이 바기 되네 전탑 거네 전탑 걸라나 띠네 되네 아니 풍모대다 던데 데미 라 아니 띠네 팝네 아니 대라 띠나 되네 아니 단제 봉물세바게 람 현대 뉴르와 사바 되네 람양 찍는데 찍혀단 도검가 람이 인데바데 주의 말이지
the practice of Chod, it's quite different from what we mentioned, the three different ways of practice. And what we are, what it is not based upon our body is impermanent, impure, etc. However, we use a very forceful way through practicing Chod. We realize that our body is not real in order to cut through our attachment to our body or cut through the attachment to the concept of I or me. Therefore, Chod, sometimes we also have a different name or offering our body as a practice. In summary, if we want to attain selfless, we need to determine the aggregate leads to emptiness. And in this practice, Chod is the swift practice. When we mentioned self-attachment, let me go straight to aggregate, so we could avoid some of the jargons. And then we should realize that this so-called aggregate, our body, is not real, it's not permanent. And when we practice Chod, it's a very sweet and skillful way. We offer our body as a way to make offering to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas or sentient beings. Then for us to realize that this physical body is not real. And this pith instruction is included in the practice of Chod. Let's try one example. If we want to destroy something in front of us, there could be many different ways to achieve that. According to Hinayana vehicle, the approach are slow in reaching the ultimate goal, because we want to rely on impermanence. However, when we talked about a Chod, it is much more direct. You want to destroy whatever is in front of you, ahead of you.
다다네 되네 쭉 냥네 쭉 먹발 때네 되네 데 루샤타기 야건조는 초 마선지는 짐바똥네 되네 루데 단제 기체 루데 다다네 쭉 냥네 그 때문에 다 매바소쇼요레스
So at this point, when we have self-attachment, it all comes from aggregates, 5 aggregates. So through the practice, pith instruction, and method of practicing Chod, we could offer our physical body to 6 realms of sentient beings. And then we could also make offering to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. We could start the practice now and to break the idea that this physical body is real, it's permanent, etc. As human beings, we have a lot of discursive thoughts. This is pure, this is impure, this is good, this is bad. All these dualistic thinking. However, through the teaching of the Chod, we destroy these discursive thoughts directly. So we cut through the dualistic division of good, bad, pure, or impure.
되네 잠볼에 차그레스 잠볼에 차 되네 nemba 당 그 잠볼에 소소 그 너바로 제거로 되네 nemba 소다 아니 돌와 나도로 제해요 되네 차단제 차단의 때는 되네 용문 와서 용문 차단의 용문 받을 때는 되네 레산 거바다 거래요
What is called good and bad, the differentiation between these two, it is actually a scary killer. Why? Because once we determine there's good and there's bad, and therefore what we like, they were into attachment. What we don't like, transform into anger or hatred. And then this is very scary, because once we don't resolve this, and then we'll be pulled by karmic connection when we are in the bardo stage.
제가 싸움한테서 건조를 제가 물 무고 그래스 근데 양 맞장와다 쪼반다고 이제 임바 옛날다 대양 제가 그 롱그마리 삼아로 여러
When we make offering, it is very common that we have our discursive thoughts, or we could what we mention, what we consider as pure, whether it's from well, from the ground, it's all the same, because we believe that they are expensive or good quality. So these characteristics must be true.
임바 옛날야 근데 나서서 나가 초사하고 그래스
但是我们并不是
However, we
否
should,
认
we are not trying to deny this type of offering. It is even this type of offering is good. It's what we need to learn. Even if you are making one stem of flower, it will help us to accumulate merit. So one day we could attain enlightenment or Buddhahood. However, even though we are making writing offering, it doesn't really cut through self-attachment. As long as we cannot totally get rid of discursive thoughts, it is impossible we could cut through attachment and anger. We just mentioned from the Hinayana perspective, our body is composed of many impure elements. And in addition, it has, when we are looking at bones, so what I want to ask you is that if our body is coming from such impure aggregate, can we offer our body to triple gem? People laugh. Rinpoche say, I think you should respond, no, it's not okay. He was joking. What I want to ask you is that can we offer our internal organ to triple gem? Can we offer our fat, tummy fat to Buddhas? What do you think?
但是以断法修
However, from the perspective of a church practice, it is possible that we could offer impure elements such as our body to triple gems. When we practice church, we use our body as elements of offering to making offering to triple gem and also making offering to sentient beings of 6 realms of samsara.
请问你们觉得在
What do you think
我执的过程当中
when we're
哪一
trying
个方
to
便最有利
suppress self-attachment? Which approach is most effective? Which is more effective? Which way is to antidote to self-attachment? Making flowers or making offering with our body? And most people respond. The second one, the latter one, offering our body. And then Rinpoche say yes. We don't, when we make offering of flower offering, that we don't usually consider that as I. However, when we make offering of our body, most people would think that that's I. Therefore, the practice of church, the longer we practice, it is much easier to cut through self-attachment.
男生在马英把个样，提灯的大竞争性的这个，
在
In our daily life, there is there are different obstacles. One of the main obstacle is a self-attachment, and the other one is attachment to a self-cherishing attachment.
错的都是被牛的忙不是的。
爱我执越强大，
The more powerful of cherishing yourself, the more afflicted emotion you have, the more confusion and conflict you would encounter in your mind.
那就去演技，就跟娘呢当，但那聊得到东西了没？他就个他娘呢个什么忙不到啊？他那时候这里现在这外家个读书也嘛的，他那嘛就那个老就学有，对对，他那时候的聊得就去娘呢这种是把这种的，他那时候给聊了认真的，聊了。 아니 진정이 그 로드 쇼 총을 넣어요.
Therefore, we're in the practice of Chod. There are different ways we could use as antidote to deal with self-attachment, but time does not allow for us to do that. Therefore, you use a brief way approach to illustrate what we could do to remove or get rid of self-attachment, and that is practice Chod frequently. Then will be very helpful for us to rid self-attachment or self-cherishing attachment.
他把这把给南沙区那个觉得，你就有跟娘呢现在的那个什么有类似。
所以
Therefore, in the practice of a Chod, it is considered as it is the ultimate skillful means to attain liberation.
的时间能把的时间多，对，那就让你说实话跟南多的，就跟娘呢了对呢，的呢，的让你。 但俺说南京，真的学结果也把给那就让你说实话，跟律师跟南部的所样，俺呢嘛学穷人都会有的是。卡这里是当我说的，你的长嘛的，你的做法的谁样都当，但样你的哪里是红波的哪里是，你的人的是呢，大人认真个多吧当，你长面认真个南部。 mà bố chuyện đó bạn, tiếng như là tiếng là nào rồi chỉ mong ta, anh ấy chỉ đồng hàng mà bố chuyện lên thì mình rồi đấy, ta chú cái nhà này sẽ vay nó, cái này, cha mẹ xin là cha cho nhân dân cái tổ chức bao nhiêu, đàn dân nhân dân cái số mà anh ấy xếp thôi bạn, bận thôi bạn, và ta chú cái sinh hoạt ta nhà này, anh ấy thì cái chuyện của cha mẹ rồi.
我们每
Each one of us have different thoughts, pure thoughts or impure thoughts, good thoughts, bad thoughts. As long as we have these discursive thoughts, it lead us to suffering. However, if we practice Chod, it really is effective for us to reduce these dualistic thinking thoughts, good, bad, pure, impure. We cut through all these dualistic thoughts. In our ordinary life, we have this like, dislike. This is my friend versus enemy. this is tasty, this is good, this is something that tastes terrible. This is our habitual tendency in making this differentiation and determination of dualistic determination, good, bad, etc. However, when we practice Chod, then it helps us to get rid of these dualistic thoughts. It doesn't bring us, cause us so much suffering. Rinpoche's Chinese is actually quite good, so at some point he started talking in Chinese. What we meant, just key points in practicing Chod. And if you want to accumulate merit and then remove obstacles, Chod is a very effective practice to achieve these purposes. When we offer a lamb, when we make offering to Triple Gems, would lead to a lot of outcomes, merits, virtues. Then even if we do some small acts such as making an offering of one butter lamb, it would lead to a lot of great benefits. You have heard the Yu Wang, he's Dharma wheel turning king. In his previous life, he was having fun in a sand pit, and then at that time Buddha walked by him, and as a child he had nothing to offer, so he just grabbed a palmful of sand and then make offering, happily making offering to Buddha, even though it's a very inexpensive, cheap offering, such as sand. However, due to such a deed, he accumulated huge merit, and then got reborn as Yu Wang. So you may wonder that how come such a small act would lead to such a huge, great merit, and that because the object is Buddha, and then the second element, because of these two elements combined together, it is possible as such a small act would lead to a huge and beneficial outcomes.
다야 본조선은 제가 보이나 같이 조사사들 세마 빠라간 거 된지 조사사들 다 많은 소다 기 지슈의 자치기도 누들 다 누룽구도 제바다 본조도 누랑 빠야 제바 부가 인바이나 다 손나 자체는 상호 시험하고 돼
Of course, when we practice Chod, we should be very mindful about our motivation. And then that is a renunciation. The most important renunciation is want to get out of samsara. And the other part is bodhicitta. We wish that all sentient beings would attain enlightenment. And then if we practice Chod based upon these motivation, then we make offering to triple gems, use our body as an element to offer to sentient beings. We practice Chod. It is for sure we accumulate huge merit. Why you may think why? Because as human beings, the most important thing is our body, our life. So if we could offer our body, it leads to huge beneficial outcomes. In the practice of Chod, what we offer, it's not only we are offering not only our body, but also our possessions or food or real offering or what we visualize as offering. We offer all these different approaches. It would help us accumulate huge benefit and merit.
好，以上讲到了透有师生。
That it is what we discuss is that how do we use Chod to accumulate huge merit. Then we want to talk about how do we practice Chod in order to remove obstacles. When we purify our obstacles, we could have two different elements, obstacles or our karma. It's all coming from our discursive thoughts, our three poisons, attachment, aversion, and confused state. When we practice Chod, it is a direct way to as antidote to work against our self-attachment, to get rid of the attachment, aversion as the origin of all misdeeds. So it is a very skillful and very effective way to accumulate merit and then remove obstacles. In the Chod practice, there are different ways to visualize. With all these different ways of visualization and practice, it help us, our karmic creditors, and then the obstacle caused by them get purified.
yang ne dong party la so ba shawar se ba la ya ane thak cho de che ba de ne chu ge nyang ne ga na pheim de yo yo de.
In addition, in the practice of Chod, we have the pacifying element, pacifying illness, and pacify obstacles.
Ja we ja su she tong she len che ga ama ma che dhamma yin si ta tene so yo ta na zo che de nam je ta na song je kyo kyo se ta na demo yong wa sho ta na chi bo yong wa sho se ta tene manam pa je te so she sho se mana kan je mo ko ja ba le ja ta da chin je de chor ba lu te da tham je tene so so la pa je se kin ki le cha deng ge te so le jin ba tang sha ba yin ba yin na ta song she kyo che ja ku ba le ja tene lu te da tham je de da dong da le cha tene do wa do tham je jin ba tang sha na tene na so ge te song wa da ane te jo ba ki ta phen yo ya te lin che ge te phen che ge ri
马师呢是另外有讲到了几句话，他意思是说，通常我们
some other ways, some other words are spoken by Machilachan. Most people pray for a smooth life. It is not the right way to overcome our obstacles. The true thing, the focus should be getting rid of our self-attachment. We should know that such our body, attachment to our body are the source of obstacles. So if we could use our body as an offering and cut through our attachment, it would be very beneficial and help us overcome these obstacles. We read different statements in the scripture. We know that the ultimate protection sphere is emptiness. And in the practice of Chod, we also learned about visualize emptiness. It is very important way for us to get rid of self-attachment.
Ta chu se de ta ki chi shi de ma so ge dan zhen dan nam do de da tham chi de ne zhen ta ge nyang ni la ti ne de ne ta dan zhen la so ba pa wa ke tha bi ma ro de ni je je zhen ma la de ba ki nian sa re chung de ba se chu hong bo zhen de chor wa nang ge chu nya je zhen de chor ba dong je chu sin na. In
the past, Jitsa Mirirba also have the following statement. We know that the practice is a very forceful way to remove self-attachment, to overcome afflicted emotion. Machilachan have talked about 3 different ways. It should not be Machilachan, it should be Jitsa Mirirba. The external, internal, and secret Chod.
Ane chi tendi ke ta nam do ya wa ta de so ane tendi ke ne je so ro wa tendi la damba la ti ne
And then what Rinpoche mentioned was stated in the Mirror Bus 10,000 Song, chapter 14. What usually people practice chod in a scary place or channel ground. For ordinary people, these are not a good place. It's a very scary place. However, if we could practice chod in such locations, it will help us overcome our fear. Or that is what we say that to cut through our attachment to our body. The second way is the internal, inside chod, is that we discard, abandon our body or offer our body. This is internal or inner chod. The most important thing is ultimate chod. That is that the only way to get rid of the attachment is that we realize the nature of the mind, and that's the ultimate secret chod. The other way that it's important for us to understand the meaning of pet. When we talked about pet, pet is the separation. It's its original meaning. When we practice chod and in the collective work of chod, we also have the practice of the chod. When we do pet, we visualize our conscious shoot out from our top of our head into the sky, and then merge it into the emptiness, and then dissolve into Dhammadhatu. Not only practice of chod has pet, but also transfer of consciousness, powa. Also, we use pet syllable. And this is also a very skillful means for us to reach emptiness, to visualize our conscious go out from our head into the sky and dissolve into Dhammadhatu. And therefore, pet is a very important skillful means for us to realize emptiness.
측지바 저기요리 어때나지 다든지 조근낭네 되니 페이테기 되니 생전에로 동반이 언니 똑벌세가 되니 나눠서 뱀보다 나피 소소도 차라 아니 나눠서 남도다 생전에 소소도 차라 아니 나제다 남이 돼서 소소도 차라세바기 아니 된지게 다 어떤 된지를 때는 페이테 뭐뭐 제 용대해요
虽然它只是一个字，但是
Despite it's so simple, only one syllable. However, it has very deep and profound meaning in Prajaparamita. Then it has one word, one syllable, and that's ah. It contains very deep, very profound meaning, and it represents countless meaning of Dharma. And then likewise, when we say pet, it helps us separate wisdom from discursive thoughts or afflicted emotion. Therefore, this is a very important syllable, very important word. Chechen Mirirpa in the past has talked about that in the page 12 of the 10,000 song, it talked about the external pet, internal pet, and then ultimate pet. The ultimate pay is to realize the ultimate truth.
有时候我们的分别妄念
Sometimes our
放逸
discursive
不断
thoughts,
的外散，
if we do not look
烦恼
at
许多
them,
的妄念。
and then they may
如果
go
把这
out
个
in
心
all
收回来
directions.
安置于内
If
在
we
的
could
这个
collect
心性上，
our mind, our
心
thoughts,
就可以
and
得
then
到了相
place
当
it
程度的定力，这也
to
是配所
emptiness,
产生
it
的一个
helps
作用。
us to achieve stillness or calmness. This is what we call calm abiding, and that is also important ways to practice.
The
以上讲的是这个外配，就是收回内心嘛。
The collecting our mind is the external pet. The second point is sometimes even if we want to practice, however, we remain in a very lethargic, powerless state. This is a dullness. And then if we run into that situation, practicing meditation, we could use pet, and that's the internal pet. And that's cutting through discursive thoughts. And then the third part, the secret pet, what is the placing our mind into authentic state. We remove all these bias states, dullness or the opposite of dullness, and then we remain in the very clean and clear state, and that doesn't have any discursive thoughts or afflicted emotion, that's the ultimate pet. In Dzogchen or Great Perfection have similar practice. The first we should keep our body posture straight and relax, and that is good way to practice. And then we could, if we focus on pet, we could avoid falling too extreme of dullness. And then we rest in the state of clear awareness and emptiness. So in the practice of Chod, it also contains the practice of Dzogchen or Great Perfection. This morning, Dupan Rinchen Doje, when he was teaching Mirirpa songs, he was right at this chapter 14, about different levels of Chod. The full name of the Chod is that cutting through everything, Mahamudra of cutting through everything. Why do we say that? We use Chod to cut through everything that and achieve emptiness and attain innate wisdom. And that is the essence of Chod. We should understand this.
kawa mambo che yuma la saja chimbo toba de kandabe to isina nyama che naroba ta teloba jila phade ba kabla teloba to chuba be namba tin naroba zone ma salad da tarwa be yo chelham sina hamgo wa ta sor pe na ta naroba de yun wa yu de naroba training the jarsamade that the training the jarande the jarsamale ya se and never saja chimbo toba juli chi mundu jorde bare ta denda ta dan di chugnang ge peknya ne to so ya ta te chikherwa senjene lo to bar se ba ke ta sakhi ngan yo yo de ta chu de sakhi ngan ne di de yo de ta dan so de chanzong something de chu lai mo mu do de di 顿木就是嘛那个传宗里面的那个木头，放，对，他参是点的传世就那么合作给传宗给点的上帝把个那么就说。
Rinpoche is explaining the Zen Buddhist practice.
这个小的，的我们家的扎能的先能的，那点的。 디 냠들라 되네 저거 젬바 그 총무도 좋네 산전에도 또 좀 먹고 소문도 와
Then the Gachu master Naropa, whose teacher is Telopa. He practiced diligently and endured a lot of suffering in head of Telopa, and ultimately he attained Mahamudra. One day he saw his master coming from afar, and he grabbed Naropa's chest, and then so forceful that he pull him through the ground to the ground and keep punching on him. And after that, Naropa got fainted. And then when he recovered from his faintness, he attained Mahamudra. So not only in Mahamudra, and sometimes in Zen Buddhism, sometimes the teacher would hit your head, and then to lead you to breaking through. So there are different ways that have similar approach in the practice and getting leaping to the attainment. If we want to practice meditation in a fearful and forceful place, then we feel scared. That is because we have not practiced and have not practiced. However, in practicing Chod, we could use some very forceful approach method to cut through self-attachment. And that is the essence of Chod practice. When we practice Chod or in a sacred mantra, there are different instruments such as 5 meat, 5 nectar, or using our head bone as Kabbalah. What we are referring here is not necessarily collecting these 5 meats or 5 nectars. The main purpose of that is to cutting through our attachment. In the ultimate state of the Chod, there's no dualistic thinking such as pure, impure, good, bad. It is possible, it is not possible, etc. We do not have all these dualistic attachment, and we cut our body as an offering to Buddhas and Bodhisattva. This is a very Pitt's instruction were collected in the collection of a church practice. There are 84 different doctrines that Buddha have taught for sentient beings, and they could be summarized in 4 seals, and that is all activities are impermanent. All the Dharma has no self. All experience are suffering, and nirvana leads to ultimate stillness and calmness. Whatever we do, whatever we learn in Buddha Dharma does not go beyond this 4 Dharma 4 Dharma seal. In the practice of Chod, the order starts from the lineage masters, and then refuge and generating bodhicitta. And then we have the transfer of conscious. We have the white feast, red feast, and then vegetarian feast. And there's so much detail, we don't have enough time. However, these are the main elements in church practice. I will try my best to give you a quick summary. The next, maybe we spend 5 minutes for the Q&A, and you, whatever question you have, you could raise it, and we have few people up here. We'll try our best in answering your question. The question is that when you practice at home, you don't have the dorje and bell. You visualize it? Is it possible? Of course, you can do that. And in Buddha's practice, there's no definitive way of the requirement. It is, if it's possible to do it that way, of course you could do that. But if you do not have that, you could use visualize. If you are not familiar with the sadhana, you have to follow the sadhana. But if you are very familiar with the sadhana, you don't even need to read the sadhana. You could just visualize what's stated in the sadhana, and that's okay. That's permissible.
哦，那他
就是我有一个问题，就是施身法里面有一个就是为病人是要在
The question here is that we, in the practice of Chod, that we, the sick people, we ask them to lay in the middle and we practice Chod on them. And yes, that's true. When we when we first practice Chod, we make offering to the Buddhas and Bodhisattva or for the 6 realms of samsara beings. What we need to do is that remove the consciousness away from the body, and then we could make offerings of the physical body to the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and sentient beings. And so it's the same token that when we try to help the sick, then we could do something similar to offer their body, offer their illness. And that is a way that we could be flexible, we could be skillful.
简单来说，用同样的方式去观想。
So what we do is something, the visualize is similar, but then perspective is quite slightly different. We visualize the body of the sick person to make offering to the deities or the sentient beings. So what's different when you practice yourself, you offer your body. When you try to relieve the pain, suffering, and illness in people, you offer their body. We could also visualize that, make offering to their karmic creditors, the devil of illness, and making offering to them. And this type of visualization could be very beneficial for the sick, for the patient.
像我讲啥？他那个过程。
这里有专门的，就是修那个病人预计的修。
In the Chod practice, there are a particular section that is especially dedicated to helping the sick, the patient. The patient, you have a lot of different conditions that you need to rely on doctor to help you relieve those suffering or pain. However, sometimes the challenge, the problem comes from a karmic creditor that may not be visible to you. Therefore, you practice Chod to make offerings. When I first came to Taiwan, when I saw this Chod text, it is very complete, and then the fonts are very pretty. So I was very inspired, and then I know that Lama Yeshe Lamchen spent a lot of time, energy in trying to make this well. And then to continue the teaching of His Eminence Lamchen Gyalpo Rinpoche. And because Lamchen Gyalpo Rinpoche is a very special master, practice well and have a lot of blessing. And then this sadhana is very well printed, very detailed, and very clear. And therefore, you could just practice the sadhana, and then you don't need too much explanation because all the details were there in the sadhana. So he make a joke that it's too much detail. I have a question.
然后修法的时候，那个垢有分体的时候，还要做一些烹饪啊，然后把它转化成甘露，然后你就是不能直接想说那个是垢有的东西离你的身体。
Sorry, did not hear the question clearly. The purpose of practicing Chod is to remove self-attachment, and we could offer different parts of our body. And then we want to get rid of the dualistic thoughts of the pure, impure, clean, unclean. Or then we have the part that we should visualize our body, our meat, our blood in the boiling pot and make offering to this broth. And that is a way through this visualization to get rid of our dualistic thoughts of clean, unclean, pure, impure. And then we visualize these our body as impure, and then visualize cleanse it, purify it, and as a pure elements to make offering. And that's one thing that we practice in a church. Transform from what impure into pure. If we practice Chod well, then we don't go through this route. And then sometimes we make offering to the dragon, naga, or make offering of meat to those vegetarians. You boil it, you cook it, and then transform it into nectar, and then that's a pure substance you make offering. So when we practice this, we should also take into consideration of the level of our own practice and our understanding or realization. We could use different approach. The question, could not hear him clearly. I think maybe in the practice of Chod, the consciousness is visualized as a small white ball, and starting from the sole of our foot to start moving up, and then using one foot or the other foot or the both feet, and then Rinpoche respond that both feet going up quickly. When the consciousness shooting out of the body, or the consciousness transform into Doje Pamo or Vajrayogini or Zhigong Chana. Drigo is the curved knife, and the cut through our head into the Gabala, and then put our body parts into the Gabala as a container, and then boil it, and then to transform and turn it into nectar. So it's turn into one. That's a good question. And sometimes when we try to think, visualize it in more details, and then we want to go into more detail. We visualize that the sole of our feet, Bindu, and then one is a red bodhicitta drop, one is white bodhicitta drop coming from our mother and our father. and then rise up and merge into one and continue to go up and then shooting out. Then if you want to be more specific and detailed, you could do this type of a visualization. I'm sorry that I have wasted your time. I'm afraid that I have wasted your time. He's being very humble. Whatever good practice, Dharma we practice, that we have to have three auspicious, and the first one is the motivation. And then in the process of practice, we should be focused and concentrated without distraction. And then the outcome, when we have whatever we have outcome or merit, we should dedicate it. This is what we call as a three auspiciousness. We should not overlook the great merit of listening to Dharma teaching. Even if we just simply listen to the teaching of one stance, we should not overlook the great benefit of doing such, and that is coming from the Buddha himself. This afternoon, we have gathered together and listened to a lot of Dharma teaching. Thus, we have accumulated and gathered a lot of merit. Now is the time for us to dedicate the merit we have gathered.
체바다 년발에 대장고 평용여가 도난 마초고 두디 시라 양 mambol을 넣더건도 다다서 무서 놀와래去本东的朋友也把那些去牛那样朋友有的去个东的什么当那样朋友有的他别查的时候你的老天的说的呢朋友也把这块之间的对对马上说就得参嘛给南军하고 와제 당 동남국어 제 들리제 차도 근데 그래서 투바가 배용서야 돼서 산에 근도 그냥 송주죠 배 배용 전부 들리 송들이 되는 그래서 내가 안에 냠도 그래서 내가 제가 전부 싸요 레스다
Another thing I want to share with you to remind you. Many people thinking that reading sutra there's not much benefit. It's only learning. If you want to accumulate merit, you should do some other things. This is something that's wrong. Of course, when you recite the sutra, it has certain benefit. However, reading sutra itself has huge benefit as well. This afternoon, we gather here to discuss Buddha Dharma. We have accumulated huge merit. And the next thing, what we want to do is to dedicate all the merit we have gathered by listening to Buddha Dharma teaching.
他说他可能培养这个培养两年的，
不管是善写经文，
regardless what we do, whether it's we write, copy the sutra, or read sutra, or even include that in our daily practice, the benefit you generate is the same. There's no more or less. It's equal.
好，请各位一起回向。
So now let's do the dedication together. By this virtue, may I achieve omniscience. By defeating all enemies' confusion, may all who travel on the wave of birth, old age, sickness, and death cross the ocean of samsara. I pray that the Lama may have good health. I pray that the Lama may have long life. I pray that your Dharma activities spread far and wide. I pray that I may not be separated from you. Bodhicitta, the excellent and precious mind, where it is unborn, may it arise. Where it is born, may it not decline, but ever increase higher and higher. Amitabha. Namo Amitabha Buddha. Seems like this is the end of the teaching, and we have completed the teaching. We have done the dedication. So the time for the teaching for tomorrow is not teaching. Tomorrow is practicing of talk offering. And then seems like according to Tsulnam Rinpoche's comment this morning, he will join the group tomorrow morning. And so the tomorrow, most of the time, you will be just practicing talk. And if you want to tune in, you may do so at the same time. And that is from 10 to 12 in the morning in Taiwan Asian time, and 2 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then that would be 7 to 9 p.m. in California time, and then 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. or 1:30 a.m. California time.
对，可以 OK。
And 对中国的法友，这个今天 Zoom 的讯息不正确，很抱歉，后来他们改了，希望今天下午我只去问一下那个管中文Zoom 的法友，到底这个门号跟密码是什么那希望明天可以给各位正确的门号 及密码，很抱歉。今天也谢谢桑吉佛网的直播。We wish everyone to thank everyone for staying and then learning together. We also wish to express our appreciation towards Sangji TV for giving this opportunity for us to learn. And of course, we want to say thank you to the hosting organization, Lama HE Lamchen, for inviting us to provide the interpretation and invite the Tsulnam Rinpoche to give this very succinct yet profound teaching.
Rinpoche, Chi Yangja, Natsingunda,
What you're seeing now is two of the main building in this campus, the Gongba and as well as the Lama House. 大家现在在画面上看到的是智光禅林的主要的建筑物大殿、官房以及上师所住的官房。This part of the film is probably from previous event. 这些应该是之前所录的影片。Okay, thank you everyone. See you tomorrow.